Blessings, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the channel today. I am Dane, your host of the Rock and Metal Guardian. Hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. Today is my review of the new Judas Priest album called Invincible Shield. Specifically, I'm going to be reviewing the Deluxe Edition version, which has 3 extra tracks. And this will be a track-by-track review, of course. So let's go ahead and jump right in. The opening track is called Panic Attack, the first single from the album. And the opening synthesizers in conjunction with the guitars, I'm quite fond of. I do like this. It kind of reminds me of Turbo, but in a more powerful and heavier vein. And while I like this part of the song, overall, I don't like the song because I think it's marred by the chorus. Panic attack, dun, dun, panic. It totally ruins it for me. Sounds like a jingle for a commercial, maybe even a prescription drug commercial. Anyway, or something else, but so I don't like this song overall. The next song, however, The Serpent and the King, I do like quite a bit. You have a great intro with respect to the riff. This is, when it comes to riffs, this is a Judas Priest I know and love, and the vocals have a sort of throwback to the Screaming for Vengeance high register that we hear on part of that album. Again, not quite as high, but very close. I'm loving that as well. Now the chorus is just okay, but it's much better than the previous song. The problem I have with the chorus is that it's a bit repetitive. Sometimes a repetitive chorus does work, as it will later on the album on a different song. But sometimes it's kind of like that Iron Maiden syndrome with Blood Brothers, a song I like, but it's kind of marred by that overtly repetitive. There's a Blaze Bayley song on the second album that he's on with them where you get way too much of that. So it's not over-intrusive, but it does slightly make the song not as good as it would have been if they had backed off on some of that repetition in the chorus. You have some punching vibe with respect to the rhythms here that I just totally love. The solo was fabulous in conjunction with the riff. So you got, Faulkner or Tipton going to town with the solo, and then underneath that is the other guitar player with the riff. This is fabulous. It works so well here. And then the solo goes into what I would call overdrive. It gets even more impressive and glorious and heavy. Just fabulous. The vocals post the solo here is a nice touch from Halford as well. It's a little different, but I'm quite fond of that. So overall, I'm loving the song. It's got a slight problem with the repetition, as I said, with the chorus, but I'm loving the song. This is one of the highlights of the album. All right, next is the title track, Invincible Shield. The great intro, again, more great riffage, if you will. The chorus is a bit too anthemic for my taste. Not a big fan of anthems all around, as I said a few times in other videos. There are some I love here. I could do without the anthemic here. I think Priest has done enough anthems and they should not do any more. However, it's the guitars here that are what's best about this song, though a bit cliched sounding. I've heard there's something about the guitar tone and the playing here that, I've heard this movie or seen this movie before kind of thing. But despite that, you have moments in the song where there are these very brief runs. Those are much better in the song than, say, the longer pieces of the solos. So anyway, I do like that. Now, having said that, the solos do have a Defenders of the Faith feel to it, so that kind of redeems, if you will, the clichédness of that. So, however, part of the problem with the song is it sounds too computerized, if that's, and I'll come back to that later when I do an overall thing. It lacks a certain warmth. So there's some good parts of the song and some negatives here, but it is somewhat memorable. Is it the best song on the album? No, but there are some parts of the song that I like. Next is Devil in Disguise, the fourth track. You have another great, amazing intro, riff that is. Cliched song title. Do we need another song title with the devil in it? You have Devil's Child from Screaming for Vengeance. You have, I have it right here. Deal with the Devil from Angel of Retribution. So again, cliched song title. Do we need it? It's a slower paced song. The solo, however, is fabulous. So I do like the song, but I don't think it's great. The next is Gates of Hell. The intro is okay, but it's setting the tone of the song, so I get that. Now, once the riff kicks in after that introduction, so it doesn't begin with a heavy riff like the songs I've discussed before, you get some feedback. Now we're talking. So again, once the intro is done to set the tone, then you get the kick-ass riff that comes in with the feedback that goes with that from the other guitars. Now we're talking. It's great. The twin guitar is fabulous here. The solo is a bit cliched. It's kind of the 80s sounding. Not necessarily a bad thing, but not great either. So I do like the song. Next is Crown of Horns, a ballad East type song. Of course, there's a pun to Crown of Thorns. It's a bit cliched lyrically, pacing, and the phrasing of Rob's vocals. It's not a bad song, but it's not great either. It's okay. The best part is the middle part of the song. That's brief, has a mid-tempo instrumental type feel to it, and the vocals that come in after that are quite nice as well. Halford does something a little different with his voice from the previous part of the song. And then you get a second solo after Halford's vocals, that has a Van Halen-esque quality to it. The tapping style that Hackett and that Steve Hackett and Van Halen are noteworthy for, as are other guitarists. So I like it, but at the same time, I wish Tipton and Faulkner would stick to their own blend of guitar style, if you will. So again, this is not a great song, but it is a good song, okay? There's some things I don't like about it, but overall, I'm saying it is a good song. Next is As God Is My Witness, another song with a great introductory riff here. Cliched title because, of course, As God Is My Witness is a popular saying we say as human beings, right? Think of the Eagles, I Can't Tell You Why. Back when that song came out, that was a very popular phrase. Someone would say something, why do you like this? Why do you not like this? What's going on? I can't tell you why. So it's, that vein of the cliched title. Now, the intro part of the song, that riff, stays throughout the whole song. So that's great. That's what makes this song worthwhile and memorable. Great solos from Tipton and Faulkner. I would say this song is just short of being fabulous. So at first I thought this was a good song, not great, but it's better than that. It's just fabulous is here. It's about right here. So anyway, I'm liking the song, As God Is My Witness. Cliched song title aside. Next is Trial by Fire. Of course, that is a cliched song title as well. Think Journey. Think it's an expression we use as humans. This is another trial by fire. You're going to have to face the music. Life is full of cliches, right? Anyway, so you have a slow intro here. You have the bell tolling, more cliche, right? Think, Hell's Bells, but it's more subtle than that. And the new Mick Mars album has a song with the bell tolling, so this is getting a little old. Anyway, when Halford comes in at the beginning of the song, where he comes in, underneath in the mix, you hear him saying, whoa, whoa. Okay, it's not bad. At least it's kind of low in the mix, because that's kind of cliched as well. But then when the riff, which is the hook of the song, comes in, it's fabulous. I think it's superb, actually. The vocals, once they kick in, I really don't like Halford's phrasing once he's, moved past that whoa, oh part. So, but then it shifts, his vocal phrasing shifts, and it's much better, but the song has a shifting between that phrasing I don't like to a phrasing that I do like. So it's a back and forth between those two vocal styles, if you will. Now, the solo is really good. I like the solo. It's not great, but I do like it. The second half of the song is better than the first for whatever reason. It is an emotive piece, which I like. I like a good emotive song. Overall, I like the song. At first, I didn't like it. This was one of the other singles off the album. When I first started, I was like, but on the second listen, I really got what the band's trying to do with this song. Next is Escape from Reality. This is an uneventful song. It's not memorable at all. The solo is good, but not enough to save the song. Now, because of the solo, the second half of the song is much better than the first, but overall, not as good as the previous song. Next is Sons of Thunder. You got a great intro riff. See a pattern here. Judas Priest is really knocking it out the park when it comes to hooks on this album. However, the introductory riff is, we've heard this a million times before, so that's a problem with this particular riff. I like it, but we've heard it somewhere before, not sure where. It's a good song, but not very original. Now, Halford's phrasing here is top-notch. Very cool. It's a biker song with background vocals. You hear the boys in the background chiming in. I like this. You don't hear this enough from the band, and that's okay, but I do like it here. Now, when we get to the solo in the song, it sounds like a repeat from somewhere else on this album, so it's a little repetitive. So I wish the solo was a little different. All right, next is Giants in the Sky. So I overall like the song, but it's not perfect. Next is Giants in the Sky. Loving the hook here that begins the song. Yet, it's uneventful after that. It's kind of boring. Only the solo and the intro is what I like here. And then the last third, you get this bluesy part that kind of salvages the song. So I like the song, but there are parts I don't like. So just keep that in mind. Excuse me, I'm making an additional note to my notes. Now, so that's the end of the non-deluxe version. So now I'm going to talk about the bonus tracks that you get if you buy the deluxe version. So I'll talk more about that towards the end of the video. So the next song is Fight for Your Life. Cliche title. I love this song though. This is one of the highlights if you buy the deluxe version. The intro sounds a tad bit like Voodoo from Black Sabbath from Mob Rules, but not totally. A note here or there in that intro, but it works. It's really cool. They didn't totally borrow or steal or lift from Black Sabbath. It's just, I think it's a coincidence. Doesn't matter. I like it. It doesn't sound totally like Voodoo, but it has that. There's something about it. When you hear it, you'll hear what I mean. So you have nice high registered vocals from Rob. The chorus, the register comes down though, and I like it still though. The guitar tone is the Judas Priest I know and love. So return to that high register towards the end of the song. So it's bookended by that high register from Rob. This is one of the gems of the album, but you have to get the deluxe version. Again, I'll talk more about that. Next is another bonus track for the deluxe version is Vicious Circle. I love this song. Great hook, great riffing. The vocals are great with the beat, so works so well. Love the riff, love. So Rob Halford's vocals work great with the guitar work here. Next is Lodger, the final song on the deluxe version. So there are 3 bonus tracks. Very different from the rest of the album. It's a slower song. However, Rob's voice is fantastic here. It's a moody piece. I love this song. You have a repetitive chorus, but here it works because it's emphasizing something. It's demonstrating the mood and the tone of the emotion being expressed. So sometimes repetition, it can be overwhelming and too much, but here it serves a good point. It works. Think of poetry. When you have repetition, there's a purpose behind that. Think of Allen Iverson in his speech, right? He talking about practice. A lot of people didn't like that, but I got what he was trying to say. He was trying to make a point, and that works here as well. And then you have this wonderful, great, abrupt ending, which really clinches the song for you. It's wonderful. So Lodger, I'm wondering if it's based on, I think there's a Roman Polanski movie called Lodger. I'm wondering if that's the Tenet actually, but I wonder if it's based on that movie and story, because it sounds to me like it is. Anyway, so let's talk about the best tracks on this album, and I'll have other things to say overall. So for me, personally, the best tracks are in this order, so I'm ranking them. Fight for Your Life, which is part of the bonus edition. Can't get on the normal version. That's my favorite song, so for me, favorite song. Then The Serpent and the King, then Gates of Hell, and then Vicious Circle. Again, Vicious Circle, part of the bonus deluxe. Then Trial by Fire, then As God Is My Witness, and then Sons of Thunder. So those are what I feel to be the best songs on the album, ranking them now, okay? Then, oh, I forgot Lodger. Lodger is after Sons of Thunder. That's the last of what I think are the best parts of the album. So after Sons of Thunder, Lodger. Now, of those songs I just mentioned, the ones that are great, Fight for Your Life, The Serpent and the King. The ones that are very good, Gates of Hell, Vicious Circle, and then the ones that are good, Trial by Fire, As God As My Witness, Sons of Thunder, and then Lodger. Now, the ones that are fair, Crown of Thorns, Invincible Shield, and Devil in Disguise. The ones that are below average are Panic Attack and Escape from Reality. Of those two, I like Panic Attack more than Escape from Reality. Escape from Reality, I think, is the worst song on the album. I think they could have left it out. Okay, so let's talk about overall. There are 5 songs that I mentioned that are great or very good. Some are killer. There are some amazing riffs and guitar solos here. There's some sharp, crisp, memorable, and punchy stuff happening here. Hard-hitting music and vocals. The music and the vocals from Halford overall work very well. All right, now, let's talk about some negatives. Production. I think the album is overproduced, perhaps too compressed. Now, the bass is overpowered, I think, by the guitars in the mix. That's a problem, and that's personal because I'm a bass player, so that happens. Is it as bad as And Justice for All? No, you can hear the bass, but I wish there was a little bit more bottom end in the mix. And there probably is some bottom end, you just can't hear it because the guitars are overshadowing it. I have not listened to this on headphones. That could be different so I'm going to do that later on. I've listened to this album 4 times, so I need to take a break from it. Now, because of the production, as I mentioned, it sounds, and I mentioned a song earlier, it sounds more mechanical at times instead of human. So there seems to be a more interest in virtuosity over heart and soul. Now, I'm not saying the album doesn't possess any heart or soul, but at times there seems to be not enough soul resonating in the album, and it's too much emphasizing the virtuosity of the technicality of the playing with the solos and everything. There's too many cliches, as I mentioned, lyrically, soloing. As you progress through the album, the solos start to sound too much alike, perhaps due to production, perhaps not. The solos sound familiar, at times generic, seeped in subconsciously from other bands, etc. And overall, sticking again with the negative right here, too much lack of originality. When it comes to that lack of originality, it's because of, it seems derivative at times, not totally, whether it's from other musicians, other artists, other bands, or derivative from the self, self-copying, self-plagiarizing. There's something about it, I've heard, like I said, I've heard this before. And whether that's past music, perhaps, but also within the album itself. As I said, as you get through the album, the solos start to sound the same or something too familiar. It's as if that the whole album has a motif, not literally, but almost as if the solos and the guitar styles, whatever, have, with exceptions, as the bluesy stuff I mentioned and other things, but it seems as if, and maybe due to production, it seems as if the guitar playing and the tone and the soloing is meant to be as a motif figuratively speaking, on the whole album, as opposed to making variety with respect to your solos. So there is variety and there isn't. It's kind of a slippery slope or hard. It's hard to pinpoint, but there's just something about where the solos begin to blur into one another, sort of, is what I'm saying, with respect to tone, style, technique, overall, but not completely. All right, now let me compare this to other Judas Priest albums and talk about where it goes in my ranking. I did a ranking video, so I want to talk about that, and then I'm going to rate the album, both the 11-track version and the 14-track version. So if we talk about firepower, okay, Invincible Shield is leaps and bounds better than this, I think. That's going to upset some people, but it's just my opinion. Now, when it comes to Nostradamus, Invincible Shield is much better than this one. Now, when it comes to Angel of Retribution, much better than this one. Redeemer of Souls, in a similar vein, Redeemer of Souls, if you get the bonus version, comparable to the deluxe version of this album, of Invincible Shield. I don't know if they're gonna release the deluxe version in more volume. We'll see. I'll talk about that again later. I like this better than Invincible Shield. This is, to me, much better. All right, now, is Invincible Shield better than this? Absolutely not. Finally, let's compare it to KK's Priest. Is Invincible Shield better than this? No. I like this better. All right, so that's, again, just my opinion. So, where in my ranking will Invincible Shield go? Well, if you watch my ranking, the discography of Judas Priest, which was quite a while ago, probably somewhere in the middle of when I started this channel so far. So I ranked Painkiller at number 11 and Nostradamus at number 12. So now everything gets pushed back, starting with Nostradamus. Nostradamus is now 13, and everything else after that, you have to add a 1 to it, right? So Painkiller is still 11, and the new album, Invincible Shield, is number 12 in the total discography for Judas Priest, for me personally. Again, just my opinion. Now, I've ordered it. I've not bought it yet. I wanted to listen to it multiple times. I listened to it this morning. I listened to it last night when I got home from work, and I've probably heard the 4 hits off the album, or singles, 6 or 7 or 8 times, and the rest of the album at least 4 times, as I said. So I didn't want to do a review without hearing it multiple times, otherwise it wouldn't have been authentic or genuine or honest, that kind of thing. So my overall rating of the album, if we're talking about just the version most of you will get with the 11 songs, is good. The 14-track version, I'm going to say very good. So what I'm saying to you, do like I did and buy the 14-track version. I went to the official website, judaspriest.com, I believe, and I ordered it this morning because it's a much better album with those 3 bonus tracks. It's the same way that this is so much better with the EP. I forget what it was originally called, that they tacked on to the end of this as a 2 CD set. So the new album comes in a 2 CD import deluxe version. I'm sure you might be able to get it from Amazon.com UK. I saw it on Amazon regular United States, but it would have been shipped from Cyprus and it would have been over $40. Ordering it from the website, which is based in England, 33 pounds and change, so probably the same amount it would have been from Cyprus, but before tax. Or this would have been cheaper compared to Cyprus, because Cyprus would have been 30-something bucks plus tax. This is a total with tax and shipping, 33 pounds and change. So now here's what I'm afraid of, because often new releases become a novelty, and what we mean by that is they're novelty wears off, and that's what I'm afraid of. So we will see, but it's good. This is, as I said, much better in my humble opinion than Firepower. I only like 4 songs on that. So fingers crossed that this will not be something that sits on my shelf and it loses its charm, it loses its flair. So I highly recommend do what I did and order this album from the website. Don't order the 11-track version. You will be much more rewarded if you buy the deluxe version, the import. Again, 3 bonus tracks, and all 3 of them make the album. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. God bless. Bye now.